Hello everyone and welcome again to my channel. In this very special video, I'm going to talk about IELTS Academic Reading Test. I have already uploaded a video about general IELTS reading test, and I have showed you the technique, the right technique, and the tips and the tricks, the very proficient and efficient strategy to be able to score high in this specific test. And now in this video, I'm going to cover, highlight, elucidate, explain, and emphasize every single point of this specific version of reading test for IELTS academic or for academic IELTS candidates. So you all know that reading tests, general reading test and academic reading test are different. So you would see that, or you would notice that the texts or the passages in the academic test are quite academic. So they are like more, they could be more scientific in terms of words or sentences. I mean, like the sentences used in the text in the academic test are quite, complex. They contain a lot of different vocabularies. These vocabularies might not be familiar to most of people, or to some students, or to some candidates. And also specifically reading passage 3. So you all know that in the IELTS academic reading test, we have 3 passages, as you can see here on the screen. We just, sorry, let me just, okay. So we have reading passage 1, as you can see here. And we have, so as you can see, it's a long test, which is quite different than the general IELTS tests, because in the general IELTS reading test, we have a short test. Okay, it's a short text, or it's much easier. The words, the vocabularies, the sentences in the general test are much easier. They're not that complicated, or the paragraphs in the general IELTS reading test are not as thick as that. So they're not quite dense as the academic IELTS reading test. So you would see that reading passage 1 is a full text, as you can see. All the paragraphs are dense and long, and we have some questions about it. And also that's the reading passage 2. And also, as you can see, we have separate paragraphs, and it's a dense text. We have a lot of paragraphs in here. And also we have reading passage 3, and that's the most difficult one. Okay, so if you look through that specific one, you would notice that the words used in this specific passage, which is reading passage 3, are more academic, are in terms of the field or the major or the domain that they are tackling in this specific text. For example, if they are handling a scientific issue or an economic issue or whatever it is, they would use complex sentences or complex words. So some students might find this very difficult for them. However, it's not about how big is the text. It's about how familiar you are with the topic. So some candidates might find reading passage 3 easier because they are familiar with the topic. Do you get what I'm saying? So it's not about how big the text is, how long the sentences are, how rich the vocabularies are, how difficult the synonyms are. So it's not about this. It's about when you read, you need to push yourself to understand the sentences in the text. However, let me just go back to reading passage 1 and show you some very important tricks. So as you can see in reading passage 1 here, the text, it says you should spend about 20 minutes on questions 1 to 13, which are based on reading passage 1 below. However, I suggest, or I recommend, to spend about 15 minutes on reading passage 1, 16 or 17 minutes on reading passage 2, and the time rest, or the rest of the time, has to be spent on reading passage 3, because it's the most challenging passage. Okay, some candidates might follow the rule or just might follow the instructions here and take 20 minutes for every single passage. Don't do that. because reading passage 1 is not as difficult as reading passage 2. And reading passage 2 is not difficult as reading passage 3. So try to finish reading passage 1 and reading passage 2 in about 32 minutes. So you would give more time for reading passage 3, because I want to show you the question types in the passages to be able to understand what I'm talking about. So for example, that's reading passage 1. If we come to the questions here, we have multiple, and so from 1 to 6, as you can see, it's fill the blank question. It's quite straightforward and it's one word only. And we have true, false, not given questions. In reading passage 2, we have, I assume, yes, list of headings, and that's quite challenging. It required some time, but it's still okay. And we have some list of ideas that you need to match with with the right person here. And then we have some fill the blank, just like a couple of, numbers to fill. If we go to reading passage 3, which is about artificial artist, let's check the questions here. We have matching sentences. Oh no, that's multiple choice questions, and multiple choice questions are always challenging. They usually come in reading passage 3, and they require more time to be able to search the text and to be able to skim immediately, so you would find the answer without taking a lot of time. So multiple choice question is quite challenging. So that's why it comes in reading passage 3. So it's a sign that you would need more time to spend on this. Okay, even though, by the way, if you go to this, for example, we have some sentences that they need to be continued by the list of ideas here. This one takes some time as well, these types of questions, and we have a true, false, not given. And usually the true, false, not given in the last passage, they come tricky. So they come as tricky as possible, because they might not come in order, because usually true, false, not given, when they come in reading passage 1 or 2, they come in order in the text. But when they come, or when they actually appear or show in reading passage 3, they don't usually come in order. And sometimes they might be in different sections in the text. So that would require more time to be able to spot the right answer. Okay, so that's why I've told you, and I have just recommended to spend about 15 minutes on, or like 14 minutes even, by the way, 15 minutes on reading passage 1, 16 to 17 minutes on reading passage 2, and the rest of the time has to be spent on reading passage 3. As you can see, it's quite challenging. Okay, so I wouldn't say that 20 minutes are enough for this section or for this passage. So don't follow the instruction when it says 20 minutes. No, don't do this. Okay, so try first to follow what I just said to be able to succeed in this challenging exam. Okay, however, don't stress yourself. The reading exam is not complicated at all. I know that some students suffer with the time issue. They might not finish on time because they can't control the way they are organizing the answer, and they lack the strategy of how to apply the strategy for every single question. Before you actually watch this, you can go back to my previous videos and check my video about general IELTS reading tests, okay? Because I have showed a lot of techniques there. But don't worry about this. I'm going to actually explain and show you a multitude of techniques in this specific one, okay? So I want you to stick to the whole video to be able to score high in the reading test. I'm not joking with you. I'm trying to help you achieve a very high score in IELTS reading test academic version. Okay, so don't go away and stay with me. So as you can see in here, we have the reading passage 1, case study tourism New Zealand website. And we have fill the blank in here, okay? So let me just try to minimize this because it's taking some space. So as you can see, okay, I'll have to mute this one here. So it says we have the section of website and we have the comment section here. So we have 1 to 6. It says to complete the table below, choose one word only from the passage for each answer. Write your answers in boxes 1 to 7 on your answer sheet. So we have, as you can see, from 1 to 7 that you need to fill the blank, and it says one word only. Before everything, what you have to do is, before you move to the text, you will have to actually focus on the question. Many students try to read the text before reading the answers or the questions. Don't do this. You would waste a lot of time, okay? And you won't be able to finish reading passage 1 before time. Even you wouldn't be able to finish it in the 20 minutes allowed. And I didn't say 20 minutes, by the way. I have recommended to finish reading passage 1 in like, for example, 15 and like 40 to 15 minutes, okay? So if you look at here, okay, something is vibrating. I'm sorry, I had to put my phone on silent. I forgot this. I put it on silent, but it's just vibrating. Okay, so I'm sorry, I don't know what's happening. Okay. So yeah, so what you have to do first, don't go to the text. What you need to do is you need to familiarize yourself with all these sentences to be able to spot them in the text. So you have to come, for example, say, you need to read all the sentences, focus on what's before and after the blank, and try to expect what the answer will be, if it's a noun, an adjective, a verb, whatever. So for example, you come to this sentence, you read it here, it says section of website, and it says the comments here. So it says easy for tourism-related businesses to get on the list. So this sentence might help you to locate the answer, okay? So you need to read this, by the way. Don't only focus on the sentence where you have the question 9. You need to focus on this sentence as well, because this sentence might lead you to the actual answer of number 1. So I have to try to, understand this one. Easy for tourism-related businesses to get on the list. So we have tourism-related businesses. It's a good word. So you have to underline this. So what did I just do right now? I underlined the keyword. That's what you have to do. You need to underline the keywords because these keywords might be written in a different way in the text. And that's what we call synonyms, okay? So don't expect that you would find a similar sentence in the text. It's not the copy of the sentence written here. No, in the text, you would find something different. It's the same overall meaning of the sentence, but in a different, in different words. Okay, so that's why you have to focus on what's before and after the blank. So when I come to here, it says database of tourism services, easy for blah, 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 allowed businesses to information regularly. To what information regularly? So I have to say, for example, it says allowed businesses to information regularly. So what kind of information? So I expect that number 1 is a verb because after 2 comes a verb. So this database of tourism services allowed businesses to blah, 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 information regularly. So I need to underline allowed because I might find this written in a different way in the text. And even information and even regularly. So I might see these 2 words written in a different way in the text. So I have to understand the concept of the sentence and I have to underline the keywords. And by the way, for example, if you are a French speaker or an Arabic speaker or a Japanese, native speaker, so you can read it in your first language. That would make things easier for you to be able to understand the overall context of the sentence. So you would be able to easily spot it in the text, okay? So now let's move to number 2, provided, so we are still talking about the database of tourism services. It says provided, so it's in the past, provided a countrywide evaluation of businesses. So it's a countrywide evaluation of businesses. So I need to underline countrywide evaluation and provided as well, including, it's a keyword, I have to underline this as well, the impact. So businesses, so impact is related to businesses, okay? The impact, so I have to underline impact on the what. So this database of tourism services provided a countrywide, like an evaluation of, the businesses, in a wide, like on a country site or, just on a countrywide. And this provision included the impact on the what. So I assume that number 2 is a noun because after the, we have a noun. So that's the article the or the. So after the article the, a noun comes, okay? So I assume number 2 is a noun. So that's what you have to do. Number 3, So now we are moving to another section of website that's called special features on local topics. For example, an interview with a former sports something. So I think it's a position, okay? And you have to underline it. For example, interview is a keyword, you need to underline this. Former sports, so former, so he used to be former, okay? So that's an old position, a previous position. So I think it's a position here. So number 3, I assume it's a noun, it's a position. So you can even expect the real answer, by the way. And an interactive tool of various locations used in something. So there's an interview with former sports, blah, blah, blah. And there is an interactive tool of various locations in what? So number 4 might be a place or might be a thing. I'm not sure. So I assume that 3 and 4 are nouns, okay? But I can assume, I have a high assumption for number 3 because I assume it's a position. So for example, he's a former CEO. He's a former manager, okay? So I assume that number 3 is a position, okay? So that would make things easier for you to be able to spot it in the text. Now moving to number 5, and we have another section, which is information on driving routes. Varied means changed. So you need to underline varied because you might find this written in a different way in the text. So varied depending on the what. So that the information on driving routes varied, and that depends on something. So 5 is a noun, which is related to the variation of the information on driving routes. So you need to try to link up the information. Try to link up these words to be able to find it easily in the text without wasting a lot of time, okay? Now moving to the last one, number 6. It's another section, which is travel planner. It says, included a map showing selected places, details of public transport and local what. So that travel planner, it included a map which shows selected places, and also the travel planner has details of public transport and local what. So local, I assume that number 6 is a noun as well. Okay, so I think it wouldn't be hard for you to find it in the text. Okay, so now you have this in front of you. Okay, guys, and what I'm gonna do right now is I'm just going to give you some hints. Okay, so I'm gonna give you some hints to be able to spot the answers easily. So at first, I'm going to give you some little help to be able to understand the technique of this specific question, which is fill the blank. So number 1 is actually present. So the answer of number 1 is in paragraph 2. Also number 2 is in paragraph 2 as well. So try to take notes. So number 1 and number 2 are both present in number 2. Okay, so I'm just trying to check my explanation of answers in here. Number 3 is a present in paragraph 3. Number 4 is in paragraph 3 as well. So before we move to number 3 and 4, let me just let us focus on number 1 and 2. So as I told you, number 1 and 2, so the answers of number 1 and 2 are found in paragraph 2. Okay, so what I'm gonna do right now, just trying to screenshot this. Okay, try to screenshot number 1 and 2 here. Take a screenshot so I can go to the text and pause the screen for a bit to be able to find the answers. And it has to be one word only, okay? So try to take a screenshot for 1 and 2. Have you taken it or did you take it? I assume you did. Okay, so now I'm going to pause the video for a bit in paragraph number 2, which is this one here. Okay, so I'm going to pause the screen on this one here, and you have already saved the screenshot of the question. Okay, so try to find the answers for number 1 and number 2 in this specific paragraph. Okay, so I'm gonna give you now some time. Let me just make sure that it's the right, but yes, I think yeah, that's the one. Okay, so I'm gonna pause the screen right here, and I will be back in about like in about 4 or 5 minutes, okay? So take some time and try to find the answers for number 1 and 2. I'll be back. Okay, sorry. How was it? Did you try your best to spot the answers? So now I'm going to give you the answers for number 1 and number 2. So the answer of number 1 is update, and that's the verb. And the answer of number 2 is impact on the environment. Sorry, number 2 is environment. Let me just give you an explanation. If we go, by the way, so I told you that the answer is in paragraph 2. So we have some keywords. If you go back to the sentences again here, so number 1, so we have some keywords which are countryside, evaluation and impact. Sorry, countrywide, not countryside. Okay, so looking for the keywords in the passage, we find them at the end of paragraph 2. So this paragraph, it's at the end of paragraph 2. It starts when it says, tourism, New Zealand organized a scheme. Okay. No, not this one. A scheme, yes. Whereby organizations appearing on the website underwent an independent evaluation against a set of agreed national standards of quality. As part of this, the effect of each sorry, I'm giving you the explanation of number 2. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. So let me just go back to number 1. So I'm sorry. So in number 1, as you can see, so if we focus on the keywords again, so the keywords here are so allowed or like businesses, information, and regularly. So if we go to paragraph 2, as you can see, it's so based on the question and particularly the keywords, we need to find the information about an activity that businesses usually conduct in the database section of the website. Is that right? So that's in paragraph 2, in this specific paragraph, okay? And when referring to the database of tourism services, the author mentions here, it starts with here. Because, so in addition, because participating businesses, participating businesses were able to update the details they gave on a regular basis. So it's quite clear. So as you can see, the information provided remained, and it says the information provided remained accurate. So from this, it can be safely concluded that the activity we are looking for is updating information. So then the answer is update. Okay, and as you can see, by the way, details is a synonym of information that was written in the sentence. Okay, so see how important are the keywords. If we move to paragraph to number 2, so in number 2, as you can see the sentence here, we have some keywords which are countrywide evaluation, impact, looking for the, okay? So looking for the keywords in the passage, we found them at the end of paragraph 2, okay? When the sentence starts with this, Tourism New Zealand organized a scheme whereby organizations appearing on the website underwent an independent evaluation against a set of agreed national standards of quality. As part of this, the effect of each business on the environment was considered. Okay, so if we, after reading this sentence, this paragraph is all about the website. As we can see from the first sentence, all the organizations or businesses, okay, so organizations, by the way, was written instead of businesses. So it's a synonym of businesses. So as you can see, it says all the organizations on the site were evaluated, including their impact on the environment. So environment is the answer, okay? So we have effect of business on the what? So effect is a synonym of impact. Is that right? So the answer is environment. Quite easy. Okay, so as you can see, the synonym of some keywords have helped or just have helped me to locate the answers. Now I want you to follow the same strategy, or this, yes, the same strategy for number 3 and 4, and even, by the way, number 5. So I guess 3, 4, and 5 are present in paragraph 3. So the answers of 3, 4, and 5 are found in paragraph 3. So try to take a screenshot of this at first. Okay. Did you take a screenshot? So now I'm going to pause the screen on paragraph 3. So that's 1, 2, and that's 3. So that's the following paragraph. So all what you have to do right now is try to locate the answers of 3, 4, and 5, which are present or are found in this specific paragraph. Okay. So I'm going to give you some time right now to be able to spot the answers. Okay. So I'm going to pause the screen for a bit. So try to read very well. Try to go back to the sentences, underline the keywords, understand the concept. So you would go to the text and try to locate them easily. Okay, so I'm going to give you about 5 minutes to be able to find the answers. Do this and get back to me. I will get back to you soon to give you the answers. Okay, I'm back. Okay, so hopefully you have found the answers of, uh, what's called 3, 4, and 5. How did you find yourself in these answers? Okay, so if you followed my technique, they would be so easy for you to locate it. Okay, now let's just focus on number 3. So number 3, as you can see in here, sorry, where did I go? Okay, number 3, as you can see, so it says an interview with a former sports. So as you can see, the keywords in this sentence are interview, former, and sports. The answer is in paragraph 3. So if we go again to paragraph 3, which is here, that's paragraph 3. So as you can see, when the author speaks of features relating to famous people and places, it says here, it starts with that sentence, one of the most popular was an interview with the former New Zealand All Blacks rugby captain Tana Umaga. Okay, so as you can see, that's the position. So we assume together that the answer is a position. So that's a captain. So then number 3 is captain. So the answer of number 3 is captain. As you can see, we have rugby. So rugby is a synonym of sports. Okay, so as you can see, that's a synonym of sports. So it's quite easy to spot this as well. Okay, so it's quite easy. When we go back to the number 3, it says then, for example, an interview with a former sports captain and an interactive tool of various locations used in what? So as you can see here, we have some keywords, which is interactive tool and location. So remember that paragraph 3, which is here, that one. So remember that paragraph 3 refers to famous people and the places, locations. We find the answer in the middle of paragraph 3, by the way, in here. So the sentence starts by another feature that attracted a lot of attention was an interactive journey. So journey, which is instead of tour, okay? So journey is a synonym of tour. So that might help me to keep reading. So I'm getting closer to the actual answer. So journey through a number of the locations chosen for blockbuster films, which had made use of New Zealand's stunning scenery as a backdrop. So as you can see, I assume that number 4 is films. Okay, so as you can see, we have even a number of, so a number of is a synonym of various, because if you go back to sentence number 4, we have the word various locations, and here it says a number of the locations. So a number of is a synonym of various, and so various locations chosen for blockbuster films. So locations in films, okay? So I assume that films is the most suitable answer. So the answer, if I go back to number 4 and read it, it says, for example, an interview with a former sports captain and an interactive tool of various locations used in films. Okay. Now for number 5. So number 5, as you can see, so it says information on driving routes varied depending on the what. So the keywords here are driving routes, varied and depending on. So the answer is given at the end of paragraph 3. So if you actually start reading with this, to make easier to plan motoring holidays, the site cataloged the motoring, by the way, motoring is a synonym of driving. Okay, driving instead of motoring. Okay, so driving is written down in the sentence. So in the text, we use motoring instead of driving. So that would help me to continue reading because as I'm getting closer to the actual answer. So the site catalog the most popular driving routes in the country, highlighting different routes according to the season. According to, which is a synonym of depending on, that was written down in the sentence. So according to is a synonym of depending on. So depending on the what? Season, and indicating distances and times. So the answer is season. Okay, so as you can see, the keywords of the word depending on was written as according to, and so that's why I spot season as the answer of number 5. So then varied depending on the season. Okay, now we have 6 and 7. So number 6 and number 7 are both present in paragraph 4. Okay, so I want you to take a screenshot for the the sentences here of number 6 and number 7, as well as the title of the section of website. So try to take a screenshot. I assume that you took it. Now I'm gonna pause the screen on number 4. So we have number 1, 2, we've done from number 3, now it's number 4. So that's number 4. I'm going to pause the screen on this specific paragraph and try to locate number 6 and 7 in here. Okay, so I'm gonna give you some time to try to locate number 6 and number 7. So I'm gonna give you a couple of minutes and I will be back to check the answer with you. Okay, guys, so I'm not gonna give you much time in this one because you have already got accustomed to the actual technique or the strategy of finding out the answer of the other questions. Okay, so I guess that now you have found the answer quickly or just quicker than the other ones because you are about to get used to the actual strategy or the actual technique. So when it comes to number 6, okay, it says the travel planner included a map showing selected places, details of public transport and local what. So as you can see in this one, so in number 6, we have a lot of keywords, which are travel planner, map, public transport, local. So travel planner is actually discussed in paragraph 4, where I actually highlight, okay, I did highlight this. So as you can see, it's starting from the beginning, by the way. It says later, a travel planner feature was added, which allowed visitors to click and bookmark places or attraction they were interested in. Okay, and then view the results on a map. So as you can see, the travel planner offered suggested routes or routes actually, and and public transport options between the chosen locations. So as you can see, and it says there were also links to accommodation in the area. So we have a lot of sentences in this one here, okay? So that specific sentence, there were also here. So let me just highlight this. There were also links to accommodations in the area, by the way. The word in the area here, in the area, is a synonym of local. So in the area is a synonym of the word local that was written down in the sentence number 6. So then the answer is accommodation. So if you go back to number 6, included a map showing selected places, details of public transport and local accommodation. So the answer is accommodation. Did you understand? I hope that you have fully understand what I'm talking about, or understood what I'm talking about. Now moving to number 7, and it says your words. Travelers could send a link to their what? Oh, sorry, I've missed number 7, by the way, before. I didn't explain number 7. So it says travelers could send a link to their what? So they can send a link to their, so maybe it's connected to them. So as you can see, we have some keywords here, which are, you know, your words, travelers, and the word send as well. So your words is also referred to in paragraph 4. Okay, so if we go back to paragraph 4 again, so starting from the website also had, it's actually the final sentence here. The website also had a your word section where anyone could submit. So submit is a synonym of the word send. Could submit a blog of their New Zealand travels for possible inclusion on the website. So then the answer is blog. Send a blog. So if I go back here, it says travelers could send a link to their blog. Okay. Sorry, then blog is the answer. So that's the technique to succeed in that specific question. It's not that difficult, as I told you. It's about understanding the concept of every single sentence. It's about underlining the keywords, setting expectations or high expectations for the real answer. If it's a noun, an adjective, a verb, whatever. Now let's move to questions 8 to 13, and that's the true, false, not given, as you can see. So in the true, false, not given, by the way, you need to follow almost the same technique. So what you have to do is you need to read all the sentences very well, underline the keywords, and try to read it in your first language and try to understand the concept of every single sentence. So it's not focusing only on the keywords. It's about understanding the overall meaning of the sentence to be able to see if you can spot it or not in the text, okay? So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to read number 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13. So let's read the sentences together. So the first sentence A said, the website www.newzealand.com aimed to provide ready-made itineraries and packages for the travel companies and individual tourists. So let us first explain. So that website, newzealand.com, aimed to provide what? Ready-made itineraries. So I have to actually underline this, ready-made itineraries and packages for travel companies and individual tourists. So we have a lot of keywords to focus on this sentence. So you need to understand this sentence very well to see if you would able to find it in the text or not. If it's a true, false, or not given. If you find the concept of the sentence or the overall context of the sentence written in the text in a different way, so then it's a true, because you're not going to find the same sentence copied in the text. It's going to be written in a different way using different words, or that's what we call synonyms, okay? And if you feel that the context of the sentence is actually present in the text, however, the information in the text contradicts the one in here, so then it's false. If you feel like the overall topic of the sentence is not present at all, or is not found at all in the text, so then it's not given, okay? So try to differentiate between true, false, not given. So it's about understanding the overall topic of the sentence, underlining the keywords to be able to spot it in the text. Now, number 9, it says it was found that most visitors started searching on the website by geographical location. It was found that most visitors, so most visitors is a keyword, started searching is a keyword on the website by geographical location is a keyword. But as you can see, the other half of the sentence is completely connected. So it says started searching on the website by geographical location. So as you can see, the whole sentence here, or that part of the sentence, or that close sentence is quite connected. So the words here are quite connected. That's why I highlighted this, okay? So don't fall in that trick, because you might be confused between choosing true or false, or maybe not given. So try to understand very well the concept of the sentence and the keywords, and try to notice and find out what words in the sentence are more connected, okay? So you won't be tricked, okay? And then number 10, we have, according to research, 26% of visitor satisfaction is related to their accommodation. So it says 26%, which is, so that's a keyword. Visitor satisfaction is a keyword related to their accommodation. So we have a lot of keywords in this sentence. Visitors, now number 11, visitors to New Zealand like to become involved in the local culture. So they like to be involved in the local culture. Is that true, false, or not given? Number 12, visitors like staying in small hotels. So like is a keyword, and staying in small hotels is a keyword in New Zealand rather than in large ones. So they prefer small hotels to larger ones, okay? So I tried to read it in my own way. That's what you have to do, okay? Or you can read it in your first language. For example, if you speak Arabic or French or Spanish or Mexican or whatever, so try to read it in your first language to be able to understand the concept or the context of the sentence. Finally, we have number 13. Many visitors feel it's unlikely that they will return to New Zealand after their visit. So they might not go back to New Zealand after the visit, okay? So that's how I explain the sentence. So I read it in my own way. That's what you have to do to be able to find out, to interpret the presence of this sentence or the unpresence of this sentence in the text. Or maybe you might find the topic of the sentence, but it might contradict the actual one. So then it would be false. So try to differentiate, please, between the two, false and not given, okay? So what I'm gonna do right now, I'm going to give you some hints to be able to spot the answer. So number 8, the answer of number 8 is present in paragraph 6, okay? As well as number 9 as well. So 8 and 9 are both present in paragraph 6. Number 10, yes. Number 10 is between 5 and 6, okay? And then we have 11. So number 11 is found in paragraph 6 again. So as you can see, most sentences are matching with information in paragraph 6. So number 11, as you can see, it's in paragraph 6 as well. Number 12 is in paragraph 6 as well. And number 13 is in the final paragraph. Oh, wow. So number 13 is in the final paragraph, okay? So now, as you can see, from 8 to 12, so as you can see, so all of these sentences, so you have to actually look in paragraph 6. So let's go to paragraph 6. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that's 6. So 6 is so as you can see, so the answers of all of these questions are squashed or are present in these paragraphs only. Okay, so what I'm gonna do right now is I'm going first to pause the screen on 5 and 6, because as I told you, one of the questions, which is, I assume number 10, yes, the answer of number 10 is actually, is split or is divided or into two halves, maybe in paragraph 5 and 6. So I'm going first to pause the screen. Oh, I won't be able to do that, but you can still find the answers only in this paragraph. Okay, I have to do this. So let me see. Okay, in which sentence, number 13? Yeah, it's in here. Yes. Okay, so what you have to do right now is, let me try to just push it that way. So you will have to take some time and find out the answers of all of them. So as you can see now, we have, if we go back here, so I want you first to take a screenshot of all of these sentences from A to 13. So please take a screenshot of these sentences. Okay, did you take a screenshot? Now I'm going to pause the screen on paragraph 5 and 6 as all the answers are present in these two paragraphs. Okay, so I assume that the last question, which is number 13, is present in paragraph 7, the final paragraph, but all of them, all the others, so you have 10, 11, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, the answers of these are present in these ones. Okay, so you need to focus only on paragraph 5, sorry, on paragraph 6, and then the final paragraph for the last sentence. Okay, so I'm giving you some hints to be able to go smooth with the technique I showed you. I'm gonna give you now some time to try to do this yourself. So I'm gonna give you maybe about 10 minutes. Okay, so not more than that, as I showed you the answer, like I showed you where the answer is. So you don't have to take much time. Okay, so I'm gonna give you a couple of minutes, about maybe, you know, let's say 7 minutes or 7 minutes. 7 minutes maybe, okay, not more than that, because I'm showing you where the answer is. So I'm gonna give you some time. I'm gonna pause the screen, try to find out the answers of, you know, from 8 to 13, okay? So I'll be waiting for you, and I will be back to show you the answers with the right explanation. So guys, as you can see, now you should have found the answers of all of them. Okay, so let's just actually focus on number 8. So number 8, the sentence again says the website www.newzealand.com aimed to provide ready-made itineraries and packages for travel companies and individual tourists. So the keywords in this sentence are ready-made, itineraries, packages, travel companies, and individual tourists. If we go at the beginning of paragraph 6 in here, the author refers to the aim of the website, which, so the sentence starts by here. Let me just show you here. So the website was set up to allow both individuals and travel organizations to create itineraries and travel packages to suit their own needs and interests. Okay, so the website, therefore, was not designed to provide ready-made packages for travelers or for travel companies. It was actually designed, on the contrary, for everyone to create their own holidays according to their own interests. Also, by the way, in paragraph 3, so it's not only, by the way, in this paragraph, so I'm gonna show you another hint, not only in this sentence. If we go to paragraph 3, for example, which is here in this paragraph, if you go to paragraph 3, it's stated starting from here, as the site, from here. As the site developed, additional features were added to help independent travelers devise their own customized itineraries. So that's another, as you can see, so that's another evidence to show that the website was not designed to provide ready-made packages for travelers. It was actually provided so you can create your own holidays according to your own interests. Okay, so then the sentence is false. Okay, so let me just focus on this one, as you can see. So if we focus on this one as well, so then the sentence is actually false. And by the way, travel organizations was written in the sentence below as travel companies. And even, by the way, we have yes, individual tourists. So for example, so individuals, so actually was written as individual tourists or independent down in the sentence. Okay, now let's move to number 9. So number 9, let me just move it here a bit. So number 9, it says it was found that most visitors started searching on the website by geographical location. So as you can see in this sentence, we have a lot of keywords. Visitors started searching, geographical locations. So as you can see, they took this, so the double here, the double word as a keyword, as you can see, because they started searching. So you can notice that these two words are quite linked up, okay, or quite connected. So now if we actually, as many paragraphs discuss the website, finding the correct place in the passage is actually not easy, okay? But however, we found it's actually, however, in paragraph 6 here, as I told you. So we find, if we start reading from this one here, so on the website, visitors can search for activities not solely means only, solely means only. So not solely by geographical location, but also by the particular nature of the activity. So 2 pieces of information then are not given. Is that right? So as you can see, we don't know if visitors started searching on the website by geographical location. They didn't mention that. And also, we only know that visitors can use the website to search by geographical location if they wish. So they didn't mention that they started searching. So the started searching is not given at all. So the concept of that part of the sentence is not given here. Also, by the way, secondly, we don't know what most visitors did when they entered the website. So the answer is not given. So as you can see, if you go down to the sentence again, the first half and the other half of the sentence are not given at all. So there's nothing mentioned about most visitors or the majority of visitors, and nothing mentioned about started searching. So then number 9 is not given. Moving now to number 10. that says, according to research, 26% of visitor satisfaction is related to their accommodation. So we have some keywords here, which are research, 26% satisfaction and accommodation. So percentages are actually only given in paragraphs 5 and 6. So it's not difficult to find the information in paragraph 6, by the way. So if you go to paragraph 6 again, which is here, so you would, let's start by reading this. It says, research, so I think it's here, yeah. So this is important as research shows that activities are the key driver of visitor satisfaction, contributing 74% to visitor satisfaction. And it also says while transport and accommodation account for the remaining 26%. So then the figure of 26% refers to those visitors who say they are satisfied with the transport or with their accommodation. So this percentage does not refer to accommodation alone. So we cannot say that 26% of visitor satisfaction is related only to their accommodation. So then some of this proportion actually is related. Some of this proportion would relate to transport. So it's not only about accommodation. So then if you go back to the sentence number 10, it's actually false. So it's not only for the accommodation, okay? So it's false. It contradicts the information in the text. Moving now to number 11. So number 11, it says, visitors to New Zealand like to become involved in the local culture. So they like to become involved in the local culture. So we have some keywords here, visitors involved in local culture. So we find the answer in paragraph 6 again, okay? So let's go back to paragraph 6 again, starting by here. It has also, so if we start by here, it has also been found that visitors enjoy cultural activities most when they are interactive, such as visiting a marae, which is a meeting background, to learn about traditional Maori life. Okay, so as you can see, we have the word, what's called, we have the word enjoy instead of like, that was written in the sentence. So we have enjoy instead of like, and we have actually interactive. Interactive was a synonym of become involved in. So if you go back to here, it says become involved in, and it says here, interactive, okay? So if you read the sentence again, it's definitely matching with number 11. So then number 11 is true, okay? Number 12, visitors like staying in small hotels in New Zealand rather than larger ones. So looking for one of the keywords, which is hotels, this is not mentioned in any of the paragraphs. Accommodation is referred to in paragraph 6, okay? And if you go to paragraph 6, by the way, and so the smallest bed and breakfast is mentioned in paragraph 2, but there is nothing to refer to the statement in the question. So by the way, if you read the sentence again, number 12, there was nothing mentioned about hotels. They didn't compare anything. They didn't mention anything about this. So it's quite clear that number 12 is not given. Okay, so you don't have to spend time on it. Now for number 13, many visitors feel it's unlikely that they will return to New Zealand after their visit. So as you can see, we have some keywords here, which are visitors, unlikely, and return. So in the final paragraph, we find what's called, if we go to the final paragraph here, let me show you. So starting from, so we have some keywords, as I told you. It says because here. So because of the long haul flight, most visitors stay for longer, average 20 days, and want to see as much of the country as possible on what is often seen as a once in a lifetime visit. So what does it mean? So to reach New Zealand, a longer flight is usually necessary. So people often visit only once. They stay for an average of 20 days, and they try to see as much as they can because they may not visit again. So when you call it a once in a lifetime visit, means maybe you're not going to visit again. So if I go back to the sentence number 13, when it says many visitors feel it's unlikely that they will return to New Zealand after the visit, so it's definitely true. Okay, so as you can see, I've showed you the technique, the right technique of how to apply the strategy of, I thought I'm on video. Okay, so as you can see, I've showed you, so I've showed you the right technique in this specific video of how to succeed in answering both types of questions. So I've covered fill the blank question, and I have covered true, false, not given questions as well. I guess maybe we took some time because I'm trying to explain to you the actual strategy to be able to answer these questions thoroughly in your exam. Okay, so as you can see, it's about focusing on the strategy. It's about applying the right strategy to be able to answer all the questions without making any mistake. Okay, so you might have noticed that I have focused on the keywords. I have understood the concept or the context or the overall topic of every single sentence to be able to spot the answer easily. And as you can see, most of these answers were written in a different way in the text. So I have spotted with you many matching synonyms of the words written in both the text and in the sentences. So you need to always be careful and cautious to spot the synonyms of these words and to be able to understand the overall meaning of every single question or sentence given in the text or given in the actual test. Okay, so now it's time to move to another section, which is reading passage 2. So in the reading passage 2, as you can see, that's another text, and usually reading passage 2, it gets a bit difficult. So the text here is a bit more difficult and the information are thicker or just a bit more laborious. Okay, so we have the text here, we have paragraphs A, B, C, D, E, F only. Oh, so that's the heading. So are you aware of how to apply the headings? So it says reading passage 2 has 6 paragraphs A to F. Choose the correct heading for each paragraph from the list of headings below. Write the correct number 1 to 8 in boxes 14 to 19 on your answer sheet. So we have all this list of headings, and you need to match every single paragraph with its heading. And every single paragraph has a different heading. So what you have to do is you need to first read all the headings very well. So you have to read all the headings very well, underline the keywords, and try to read it in your first language. So try to understand the context of every single heading to be able to spot or to match the right one with the paragraph. So once you are done from reading all the headings, understanding them very well, and underlining the keywords, then you have to go to the text and start reading the paragraphs. But before, let's read them together. So number 1, the productive outcomes that may result from boredom. So the productive outcomes that may result from boredom. So we have a lot of keywords to focus on. What teachers can do to prevent boredom. Teachers is a keyword, prevent is a keyword. A new explanation and a new cure for boredom. So we have explanation, cure, and new, even the word new is a keyword. Problems with a scientific approach to boredom. So problems is a keyword. Scientific approach is a keyword. A potential danger arising from boredom. So the danger is the most important keyword. Creating a system of classification for feelings of boredom. So you are trying to classify the feelings of boredom. So which paragraphs shows you this information or this heading? Age groups most affected by boredom. So they are maybe highlighting or emphasizing some age groups which are most affected by boredom. So you have to find out which paragraph matches with this heading. Identifying or finding out those most affected by boredom. So one of the paragraphs is talking about identifying or finding out the people who are most affected by boredom. Okay, so that's what you have to do as a first step. You need to understand all the headings very well, underline the keywords, and try to read it in your first language. Now, what you have to do is you have to go to the text. Okay, so you don't have to read the whole paragraph. What you have to do is try to read the first sentence and the last sentence of every single paragraph. So I assume, okay, the last sentence is quite big in here. So maybe this one. Okay, so try to read the first sentence and the last sentence of the paragraph. Okay, if you feel that these sentences are not sufficient or are not enough to match with one of the headings, so then what you have to do is you need to read more. So try to read another sentence from the top and another sentence from the bottom. And if you feel that these sentences are still not enough to match with one of the headings, then you will have to keep reading more and more until you totally, until you 100% find the matching heading with one of the sentences that you have read. And by the way, the heading might be written in a sentence, or might be maybe a couple of words, might show you or might match with a specific heading, or maybe the overall context of what you are reading could match with the actual heading. So that's why I told you, try first to read the first sentence of the paragraph and the last sentence of the paragraph to be able to match with the right heading. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do right now, so that's paragraph A and B. Okay, so first of all, I'm going to give you some time to, first you need to take a screenshot of this. Okay, so try to take a screenshot of the headings here. So that's the list of headings. So try to screenshot this. Okay, so I want you to screenshot this one. And I'm gonna help you, with something. So I'm going to exclude. So as you can see, how many paragraphs we have? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And we have 8 headings. So apparently we have 2 excluded headings. So I'm going to give you or show you which headings are excluded. Okay. So I guess, let me just confirm with you. Okay, so okay. Okay. Okay, 1, okay. Okay, so I assume that number 2 is excluded. So exclude number 2. Don't worry about number 2, which is what teachers can do to prevent boredom. It doesn't match with any of the paragraphs. Okay, so I can confirm this with you. Let me just, I don't know why things are getting more complicated in my, sorry. Okay, so let me just try to confirm with you specifically. I'm going to confirm specifically. Okay, so we have 14 to 19. Okay, so exclude number 2 and exclude number 7. So we have number 2 and number 7 are excluded. So don't worry about number 2 and number 7. Okay. So number 2, which is what teachers can do to prevent boredom, there's none of the paragraphs match with this, and none of the paragraphs match with number 7, which is age groups most affected by boredom. Okay, so I'm sure that none of the paragraphs matches with these 2. Okay, so I try now. So as you screenshot this. Now, I'm going to actually pause the screen on number A and B. Okay, so let me just, okay, so, okay. Let me see. Okay, I'm just want to make sure if I have to show this sentence or not. I'm just trying to make sure. Yes, okay. Yes, so I'm going to pause the screen on paragraph A and B. Okay, so I assume that this one wouldn't help you in anything. Okay, so I can just show it to you if you want. I can. Yes. Yes, so that's paragraph A and that's paragraph B. Okay, that's fine. So let me just again here. Okay, so I paused the screen on paragraph A and paragraph B. So what I want you right now, I'm going to give you some time to try to match paragraph A with the right heading and to match paragraph B with the right heading. Okay, so I'm going to give you a couple of minutes. So try to follow the technique I showed you by reading the first and the last sentence of the paragraph, or the first two sentences and the last two sentences of the paragraph. If you feel that these sentences are not enough to match with one of the headings, then keep reading. You need to be fast and wise when you are reading, okay? So try to follow this technique to be able to match paragraph A and B with the right headings, okay? So I'll be back soon. Okay, guys, I'm back. Okay, sorry. Let's just focus. Okay, so paragraph A, if we actually read the sentence, so in this paragraph, the author introduces the subject of boredom, indicating that, so as you can see, so it says, if you go back to this, it says defining boredom so that it can be studied in the lab has proved difficult. So as you can see, this sentence is completely matching with heading number number 4, problems with a scientific approach to boredom. Problems was written as you can see here. So problems was written as difficult, has proved difficult, so then it's a problem, and it can be studied in the lab, so then it's a scientific approach. So a scientific approach that has proved difficult means a problem with a scientific approach. So this sentence is completely matching with heading number 4, okay? So A is matching with 4, problems with a scientific approach to boredom. Now let's move to paragraph B. So if you read paragraph B, by the way, very well, you would find that the sentence, okay, here, by asking people about their experience of boredom, Thomas Goetz and his team at the University of Constance in Germany have recently identified this 5 distinct types: indifferent, calibrating, searching, reacting, and apathetic. So what does it mean then? Okay, what does it mean? So the system used by the researchers, what's called to measure these types is then described. Is then described. Okay, so as you can see, and it says 2 axes, by the way, and it says, by the way, here, a 2-axis chart is used to arrange the types. They said this can be plotted on 2 axes, one running left to right, which measures load, blah, 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 blah. So as you can see, a 2-axis chart is used to arrange the types, with one axis decoding level of arousal and the other axis decoding positive positive feeling, positive or negative feeling. So even the next sentence, by the way, proves to us that the main idea of paragraph B is creating a system of classification for the feelings of boredom. So the first sentence alone and plus the second sentence, it gives more proof that paragraph B is matching with creating a system of classification for feelings of boredom, which is number 6. Okay, so as you can see, the technique has been applied properly in paragraph A and B, as we found the sentence in paragraph A. The second sentence was a proof, or was the matching heading in here. And then in paragraph B, the first and the second sentence were matching with one of the headings. So as you can see, the technique I showed you, or the strategy I showed you, is completely being applied in these 2 paragraphs. Now let's move to paragraph C and D, okay? And you've already took a screenshot, so or you've already taken a screenshot, okay? So now we have paragraph C and D. So I want you to take some time and try to follow the technique I showed you again and apply it in these 2 paragraphs, C and D. So take some time and try to match C and D with the right heading. I'll be back. Okay, guys, so how was it? So did you find the matching heading for paragraph C and D? So in paragraph C, this paragraph is about the positive aspects of boredom. So the findings of the psychologist Sandy Mann are discussed when it says men found. So it's starting by that sentence, by the way. So the second sentence of the paragraph, it says men has found that feeling bored makes us more creative. We are all afraid of being bored, but in actual fact, it can lead to all kinds of amazing things. Okay, so as you can see, she says, okay, so then this sentence here. So the sentence, which is the second sentence of the paragraph, so as I told you, it's always present. So the second sentence of the paragraph is definitely matching with one of the headings. Have you found out which one is it? So as you can see, this particular sentence is matching with heading number 1, the productive outcomes that may result from boredom. It's quite easy. Read the sentence again and go back to the heading. So you would find that paragraph C is matching with number 1, the productive outcomes that might result from boredom. So as you can see, the strategy is always working. So as you can see in paragraph C, we found the answer in the second sentence. Now let's see paragraph D. So in paragraph D, by the way, in contrast, so psychologist John Eastwood considers that boredom is negative, okay? So he considers that boredom is negative. So it says when he says, in my view, by definition, boredom is an undesirable state. Wow, undesirable state. So the paragraph continues, by the way, and if you continue reading, by the way, I assume that you will have to read more in this paragraph because the information are quite elaborative, okay, or elaborative, okay? So you have to, so we have the first sentence here, in my view, by definition, boredom is an undesirable state. And if you move to that sentence when he said, for Eastwood, because I just want to make sure to follow Eastwood's sayings. So for Eastwood, the central feature of boredom is a failure to put our attention system into gear. What does it mean? Okay, so, and continue. So if you even continue, what's called into gear, again, it says, okay, what is it? Yeah, if you continue reading and it says, here, perhaps most worryingly, says Eastwood, repeatedly failing to engage attention can lead to state where we don't know what to do anymore and no longer care. So as you can see, we have 3 sentences are completely connected to Eastwood. So if you read the sentences very well, so when we are bored, what does it mean? So it means that when we are bored, our, so it's like the biggest worry is that we may no longer pay attention or care about the things we do the most. So we do. So we don't care. So if we actually, the biggest, let me repeat again. If you read these 3 sentences again, so the first sentence, in my view, by definition, boredom is an undesirable state. So undesirable, by the way. And we have another sentence when he said, for Eastwood, the central feature of boredom is a failure to put our attention system into gear. Okay, and then the last sentence when it says perhaps most worryingly, it says Eastwood, repeatedly failing to engage attention can lead to state where we don't know what to do anymore. So as you can see, it's all signs of something like of some potential danger. So as you can see, the biggest worry is that we may no longer pay attention or care about the things we do. Okay, so then the most appropriate heading is a potential danger arising from boredom. Okay, so and by the way, when you have lead to is a synonym of potential. Okay, so then paragraph D is definitely matching with number 5, potential danger arising from boredom. Okay, so it's not difficult at all. So now we've done A, B, C, D. So the only 2 left are E and F. Okay, so I'm going to pause the screen again and try to match E and F with the right answer. Okay, so I'm going to give you a couple of minutes to be able to find the answers or to match F and E and F with the right heading. I'll be back. Okay, guys, so have you found the answers or the matching headings of paragraph E and F? So in this paragraph, this paragraph, which is paragraph E here. So this paragraph is about certain characteristics of personality and how these tend to be associated with boredom. So Eastwood's team think that, he said, boredom proneness has been linked with a variety of traits. People who are motivated by pleasure seem to suffer, seem is, I don't know what's happening to this word here. So seem to suffer particularly badly. Okay, so as you continue, other personality traits, such as curiosity, are associated with a high boredom threshold. Amazing. More evidence that boredom has detrimental effects comes from detrimental means negative or bad, very bad. Detrimental effects comes from studies of people who are more or less prone. Prone means entitled, or when you are prone to something, so you are exposed. So prone means, you know, when we say vulnerable or easily exposed. So less prone to boredom. So as you can see, a link has been made, therefore, between boredom and people with certain characteristics. So the correct heading is identifying those most affected by boredom. Okay, so that's the answer of the question. So it's quite easy to say that you know, the answer of or paragraph E is matching with what's called answer number 8, which is here, identifying those most affected by boredom. It's quite easy, by the way. And when you said prone to, what is the meaning of prone to? I told you. So prone to means exposed to or affected by, okay? So it's quite easy. And as you can see, we are still applying the strategy here. So the answer is still at the very beginning of the paragraph, okay? So I told you, you don't have to read the whole paragraph to be able to match the sentence or the actual heading. So as you can see, most or the majority of the paragraphs we're totally matching or applying the strategy I have just explained. Now, if you move to paragraph F, by the way, in paragraph F, the author explains or discusses psychologist François Wemmels's, I don't know, view. So he discusses François' view when he said exactly, so he said that our connected lifestyles might even be a new sort of boredom. Okay, so then, as you can see, when he said a new sort of boredom, so what is the meaning of that? So we need less mental stimulation, not more. Okay, so, and he said in modern human society, there's a lot of other stimulation, but still a lot of problems finding meaning. And if you continue reading, by the way, it says, perhaps we should, here, the last sentence, perhaps we should leave our friends alone and use boredom to motivate us to engage with the world in a more meaningful way. So this is a new regulation of one reason why we become bored. And a new cure, which is less stimulation, is proposed. So the correct heading is a new explanation and a new cure. So as you can see, the new cure is to actually, so he said that the explanation is that in most society there's a lot of other stimulation. And so he did mention an explanation, as you can see, which is this one, and he proposed that we have to leave our phone alone to motivate us to engage with the world in a meaningful way. So he suggested an explanation with a connected cure. Okay, so definitely paragraph F is matching with answer number 3, which is a new explanation and a new cure for boredom. So I hope that you have fully understood the technique of the specific question. Okay, so as I told you, it's about, so as you can see, paragraph F, the answer was found in the first and the last sentence. So as you, when it comes to a very small paragraph, you can read the whole paragraph, by the way. You don't need to only, because it's already a small paragraph. So when you read the full paragraph, you would find the answer straight away. But in the long paragraphs, how much I have saved time by following the strategy. I only read the first sentence or the first couple of sentences in the paragraph to be able to match the answer. So the only paragraph I have read a lot is paragraph E. And I just followed the name of Eastwood. So as you told, you might have noticed that I was actually following Eastwood saying. So when I actually focused on, no, sorry, I meant paragraph T. When I was following Eastwood sayings. So when I actually mentioned, when I followed this and for Eastwood, and I followed here when he says, okay, so I was just following what Eastwood has focused on. So I told you it's not hard, by the way, to find out the answers. So try to read out the first sentence or the first two sentences and the last two sentences of the paragraph. And as I told you, if you feel that these sentences are not sufficient or enough to match with one of the headings, try to continue reading until you find the matching one. And by the way, it would be easy for you, by the way, if you have already done, you know, a couple of paragraphs, it would be so easy for you to spot the others. So you don't stress out about the specific question. It's quite easy. Now let's move to another question type, which is this one. So we have, it says, look at the following people, question 20 to 23, and the list of ideas below. So that's a list of ideas here. Okay. It says, match each person with the correct idea A to E, with write the correct letter A to E in boxes on your answer sheet. So we have the nouns, we have some names of researchers maybe, or psychologists, whatever. So we have the names of some people which were mentioned in the text. So what you have to do now is you need to read all the ideas very well, underline the keywords, and try to understand the overall meaning of every single idea. And then what you have to do is go to the text and try to find out what every single person has said. Okay, so you need to match every single idea with the right person. Okay, so A, B, C, D, E. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so A, B, C, D. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4. So as you can see, you might find two of the ideas. I'm sorry. So you need to find out. So Peter Tuhi, what did Peter Tuhi say? So you need to find out which idea he said it. Number 21, number 22, and number 20. So as you can see, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ideas. So one of these ideas are excluded because we only have 4 people here. Okay, so the way, let's read them together. Number A, the way we live today may encourage boredom. So the way we live today, so the style of living maybe today may encourage boredom. So you might find this written in a different way in the text. Who said that? Which person said it? We have paragraph number B, one sort of boredom is worse than all the others. So you have to find out which one of these people was highlighting one sort of a boredom as it's worse than all the others. Number C, levels of boredom may fall in the future. So the boredom might decrease in the future. Trying to cope with boredom can increase its negative effects. So if you want to deal with boredom, that might increase the detrimental effects or the negative effects of it. So who said that? Number E, boredom may encourage us to avoid an unpleasant experience. So boredom might help us to avoid any ugly experience or any negative experience. Unpleasant means not good. Okay, so what I just did right now is I have read all the sentences very well. I have underlined the keywords. So we have a lot of keywords. For example, we have encourage here. We have today is a keyword. So we have one sort of boredom is a keyword. Worse is a keyword. Levels, fall in the future is a keyword. Cope with, trying to cope with is a keyword. Increase its negative effects. So the whole sentence here actually is full of keywords. Boredom may encourage us to avoid unpleasant experience. So as you can see, it's not about only one word. So as I told you, sometimes keywords have to be associated. So you have to, as you have noticed, I have highlighted the whole, the whole clause here because I can tell that this one might be written in a different way in the text. So the words here are quite connected. Okay, so you have to feel it yourself. You have to find out how to highlight words or how to underline the keywords. So when you're underlining the keywords, try to find out which words I can connect them together. So you need to be careful when you are reading. So now what I'm gonna do is, okay, so for number 20, which is Peter Tuhi, I assume that paragraph A, so the idea that is matching with Peter Tuhi is present in paragraph A, okay? So it's actually in paragraph A. Okay, so and now I want you to screenshot the ideas here. So try to screenshot this, the people and the ideas. So I want you to screenshot these ones. So try to screenshot these ones, or just like, let me just highlight this. Try to screenshot the whole page here. Okay, and now we have to match every single person with the right idea. So Peter Tuhi, I told you, so what the idea that is matching with Peter Tuhi is present in paragraph A. So let's do this together. That's paragraph A. So let's see. So guides, actually, as you can see, Peter Tuhi, we can quickly find this name in paragraph A, which is here. Tuhi compares boredom with disgust. So starting from the sentence, let me show you which sentence. Yeah, an emotion that motivates us to stay away from certain situations. So if disgust protects humans from infection, boredom may protect them from infectious social situations, he suggests. So to his idea is that boredom may actually protect us from bad situations or experiences. So what does that mean then? So as you can see, the word stay away here was written in the sentence down in one of the ideas as avoid, by the way. And the word what's called infectious situations was written down in one of the ideas as unpleasant experience. So then definitely Peter Tuhi idea is, so the answer is E. Boredom may encourage us to avoid an unpleasant experience. Okay, so Tuhi said that. So this idea is matching with Peter Tuhi. So 20 is E. Okay, so as you can see, avoid means stay away, was written as stay away in the text. Unpleasant experience was written as infectious situation. See how important are the keywords and the synonyms in the text? Now let's move to Thomas Goetz, the second one. So Thomas Goetz, actually Goetz is mentioned in both paragraph B and E. We already know from question 15, if you still remember question 15, by the way, which is here. So that's question 15. So if you remember, we already know that from question 15, that paragraph B is about the classification of types of boredom by Goetz and his team. So see how important are the previous questions. So the previous questions might help us in the coming questions. So we already know this, okay? So we already know that paragraph B is about the classification of types of boredom by Goetz and his team. So then this matches B in the list of ideas of the 5 types the most damaging is. So as you can see, let's go to paragraph B to see Goetz, what did he say? So that's paragraph B. So if you go to here, Goetz has found that while people experience all kinds of boredom, they tend to specialize in one of the 5 types. One of the 5 types that most damaging is reactant boredom with its explosive combination of high arousal and negative emotion. So then what is the meaning of this? So then reactant boredom is the worst of all the 5 types of boredom because it's the most damaging. So what is the most damaging? Most damaging means the worst. So where did I see this? So I saw this in which idea? So I saw this in idea B. One sort of boredom is worse than all others. So I've seen this, okay? So then Goetz is matching with idea B. So 21 is matching with B. Quite easy. Now let's move to John Eastwood, which is number 22. So John Eastwood is mentioned in paragraph D. Okay, let's go to paragraph D. So as you can see, starting to look for the answer in paragraph D, we find a discussion of boredom as a failure to put our attention system into action. So let's read this sentence. There's one of the sentence here. Let me just focus here. This causes an inability to focus on anything, which makes time seem to go painfully slowly. What's more, your efforts to improve the situation can end up making you feel worse. So if you read the sentence again, I've seen the sentence in one of the ideas that says trying to cope with boredom. So as you can see, your efforts to improve the situation, what does it mean? I've seen this in one of the ideas. One of the ideas has the sentence trying to cope with boredom, trying to cope with boredom, and also making you feel worse. Making you feel worse, which is a synonym of increase its negative effects. So as you can see, I've seen the sentence in here, in this, which is D. Trying to cope with boredom can increase negative effects. So this sentence is completely matching with this one here. Okay. Oh yeah, sorry. So this one, okay. So as you can see, we have your efforts to improve the situation means trying to cope with boredom, and making you feel worse means increases negative effects. Amazing. Now let's move to the last one, which is Françoise Wemmelsfelder. So Françoise Wemmelsfelder, let's see which idea matches with Françoise. So as you can see, Françoise, her name is mentioned in the last paragraph. So if we go to the last paragraph, she believes that in modern human society, there is a lot of overstimulation, but still a lot of problems finding meaning. So then and it says, by the way, so what is the meaning of this? So then our modern lifestyles, therefore, tend to stimulate us too much without enabling us to find any meaning for what we do, okay? So as you can see, in modern was found in one of the sentences here as today. So then it's definitely matching with A, okay? So Françoise was matching the way we live today may encourage boredom. Yes, today was written in the paragraph as modern, okay? So it's quite easy, as I told you, it's about focusing on the keywords only. Now we have 24, 25, and 26, which are fill the blank, and I'll explain to you how to do this. And so it's quite easy, by the way, to spot the answers in this one. And I assume that, okay, let me check which paragraphs. Yes, so 24, the 25, the 26 are present in paragraphs E and D, okay? So are present, and it says one word only, okay? So try to read this very well. So I want you to screenshot this at first. Okay, screenshot this at first. I want you to read it very well, understand the topic of it, try to underline the keywords before and after the blank, and try to expect what the answer would be, okay? So I'm gonna give you another hint. So did you screenshot this? Okay, so now what I'm gonna do is I'm going to pause the screen on paragraph E, on paragraph D and E. Okay, so because these sentences matches with here. So I assume that number 24 is present in paragraph D. Yes, and 25 and 26 are present in paragraph E. Okay, so I'm gonna give you some time to find out the answers of 24, 25, and 26. And then I'll go back to you. Okay, guys, have you spotted the answers of this? So now let me just give you an explanation. So now we have number 24. Let's go back. So that's number 24 again. So it says for John Eastwood, the central feature of boredom is that people cannot blah blah due to a failure in what he calls the attention system, and as a result they become frustrated and irritable. So where did we find this information? So as you can see, the keywords here are Eastwood, central, failure, attention system. So using the keywords, we find the answer in paragraph T. Okay, so that was present in paragraph T as I pause the screen on. So starting from for Eastwood here, for Eastwood, the central feature of boredom is a failure to put our attention system into gear. This causes an inability to focus on anything. Thus, what does it mean? So thus, when people are bored, they are not able to focus on anything. Okay, so as you can see, we have inability was written as cannot in the actual sentence here. So cannot was written in the text as inability. Okay, and also we have as a result, we have the word here. Yes, as a result. So as a result was written in the text as causes. So then the answer for 24 is focus. Now for number 25, when it said his team suggests that those for whom, blah, blah, blah. So for whom, so I guess it's a noun. For whom something, whom is usually followed by a noun. So for whom is an important aim in life may have a problems in coping with boredom. So as you can see, the keywords here are aim, problems, and coping. So the answer is actually found in paragraph E, not in D here. So it's actually in paragraph E. So the answer is found in this paragraph. Again, using the keywords here, it's stated that, so here, boredom proneness from here has been, so has been linked with a variety of traits. Okay, people who are motivated by pleasure seem to suffer particularly badly. So then what does it mean? So people who are motivated by pleasure try to achieve a pleasure as an important aim in life. So they soon seem to get bored and have problems suffering badly. So then the answer is pleasure. So pleasure is the answer. Okay, so if you go back to the sentence here again, it says for whom pleasure is an important aim in life may have problems in coping with boredom. Whereas as those who have the characteristic of something which is a noun can generally cope with it. So as you can see in the next sentence, we learn about the people who cope well with boredom. So as you can see, if we go to the text actually here, which is in the next sentence here, it's definitely in the next sentence. It says, other personality traits such as curiosity are associated with a high boredom threshold. So what is the meaning of high boredom threshold? So if people have a high boredom threshold means that they are not easily bored. Okay, when you have a boredom threshold means you are not easily bored. So these are people who have the characteristic of curiosity. Okay, so then the answer is curiosity. Curiosity. Okay, so if we go back to the sentences here again, so then you have to say that whereas those who have characteristic of curiosity can generally cope with it. Okay, so that's all. I have covered reading passage 1 and reading passage 3. I hope that you have fully understood the techniques I have showed you and all the key points that I have focused on or emphasized. So please try to go back to the video and try to test yourself. It's a mock test as well. It's so beneficial for you to score high in IELTS reading test. I will post an additional video very soon about reading passage 3, okay? And that's the most challenging one. I will explain more the multiple choice questions, which is the most challenging question of all types, okay? So try to always please subscribe to my channel. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Let me just maximize this. So please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and activate the bell button to help receive all my upcoming uploads. And as I told you, I'm going to upload an additional video explaining and highlighting more and more the reading passage 3 of academic IELTS tests reading version or reading section. Okay, so don't forget to stay updated and don't forget to subscribe to my channel and activate the bell button. I wish you all the best and I look forward to seeing you soon on my channel. Don't forget to ask me any questions. Write down all your questions in the comment section below. Thanks a lot.